cured polio. You know, they were the ones that I think they funded Sabine and Salk. And since then, they did what's called outreach, which means they just go out to communities and try and talk to women and convince them to go to the doctor, which is good. But it ain't the job. That ain't polio. You know what I'm saying? So I say, why don't we do a real mission? Let's go to Mars, send 10 guys to Mars, do it while we're young. They're going to learn some stuff. We have no idea what they're going to learn. Just let them do it. You know, just like Lewis and Clark and all these things. They didn't know what was going to happen.
So your ultimate objective is to get to
propellant. I think we want to support the Mars mission. Okay.
Okay. With the propellant.
Yeah, because we're the critical part.
At a reasonable cost.
Exactly. You've got to make it affordable.
And anything less than what the current cost is reasonable.
Right. But
so you're saying you can reduce that cost by 10 times.
By a factor of 10. Yeah. Maybe actually better. Off the record, we can do better than 10. Okay?
So therein lies the genius.
Yeah, it's a different technology.
The appeal.
Yes.
To corporations and government.
Also, it looks sort of cool. That's a 1 kilometer long system at the equator, and you can rotate it around so you can launch to any inclination you want to. So if you had a depot over here, say it's an equatorial depot that's going around in a circle, you would be launching at 0 degrees azimuth to say 30 degrees elevation. And then if you say you wanted, another client says, hey, I want a platform that's going to be sun synchronous, it's got to be 90 degrees or 98 degrees. So then you turn your thing over about a day, you rotate this system, and a day later you're pointing sun synchronous. You do those launches. That customer's launched for a month there, do a couple thousand launches.
That's what this system allows you to do. Go anywhere, change.
When I first looked at what Pat sent me from you guys, okay, it hit me right away. Okay, what do governments and corporations pay to have their stuff on the payload? With NASA, the cost that they have to pay. This right here, okay, appeals to large, medium-sized, and maybe even some small companies that need to get stuff out there.
Yeah, and we don't want to talk about satellites. We could launch satellites, okay, but we wanted to focus on the propellant because that's such a big part of any Mars expedition, or likewise any moon. Now, in case you're curious, the numbers for the moon are a little better. A little more. Thanks. It's about $100,000 per pound per person to go to the moon and back. So it's 1/10. But still, that still breaks the bank. If you want to put 100 guys on the moon, that's just prohibitive, right?
So that's the very reason why the progress is so slow.
Absolutely. That's all there is to it.
The money.
Yeah.
The cost.
It's the cost, yeah. And if we look at the cost breakdown, 90% is propellant.
They're not being very progressive about it.
No.
If you want to give NASA the benefit of the doubt,
right.
Everybody's ignorant.
And they make it mystical.
Except for them, so they say.
Right. There's a little bit of a mystique about space, and so they play that to make their $18 billion a year.
Right.
But the mission disappeared in the early 70s.
That's why this project has appealed to me.
It revitalized
of space.
It revitalizes space.
Investment.
Say that, well, we're not going to Mars right now because it's too expensive. $60 billion is too much.
So it keeps getting put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Right.